What is up, everyone? I hope you all are doing well. Welcome to the video. If you don't know me, my name is Ishaan. I'm a first year graduate student at Purdue University, and I started this page Scientist a while back to communicate science and really center every video that I make a discussion or some sort of like conversational style video like this, and just say what's on my mind about something that's a scientific topic. But I've come to realize that I also want to document my PhD journey because, my background's like, I just come from a very diverse background. I'm an immigrant myself. I moved to the United States when I was 13. I joined in like the middle of 8th grade. So I did some of middle school here, then high school here, college in the US, and then I worked in the industry for some time, something completely different. I was in healthcare IT. My undergrad background was in biochem, and I was able to make a good amount of money. But then my passion though, like for space sciences, has been something that's ingrained in me ever since I was a young kid, like most of us that are in the field of space sciences as a whole, or at least that's what my conversations have been like. And I really wanna bring all those experiences in to my PhD program, which I do. And also, like, I want to document this journey for myself because I want to look back 5 years later and I want to be like, what the fuck did I actually learn from the first semester of my PhD? What did I learn from the subsequent semester? So in this video today, we're gonna head into some of the lessons that I've learned after finishing the first semester of my PhD in Planetary Sciences, which, bro, this guy is a grad student in planetary sciences. Sometimes I can't believe it. And if you want to know more about my research work and stuff, you can probably, I guess you could look it up on Google and shit. My name would probably pop up under my advisor's website. But you can also check out some of my other videos and things. And if you want to know more, just let me know. Like, let me know in the comments below. I'll make another video about like my research work specifically. But I forgot to mention, I'm all scientist is like one aspect of me. I'm also very spiritual in my personal life, and I feel like the two, science and spirituality, are really mingled together. But I know a lot of scientists don't see it that way, which is perfectly fine because really it gives me the unique edge to come into this space and really bridge the two together and communicate that effectively and why it actually makes sense to both sides, the scientists and the non-scientists as well. But these are like big topics for like future videos as well. Let's just head into some of the lessons that I've learned from the first semester of finishing my like 3.5 months ish. It's insane. And just for some more background, I live in the Midwest in Indiana. That's where Purdue is, and I'm away from my family. I live by myself right now, looking for a roommate, and it's just a crazy dynamic to be in grad school after you've lived as an adult, because before this I was working a full-time job and I had my own place, I had one car, like same such, but it was just such a different kind of mind and exertion and the type of work that I was doing. In a lot of ways it's similar, except the pay cut is pretty crazy when you go into grad school. But if you're going straight from undergrad to grad school, you won't really think about it too much. But the first piece of advice that I just want to say out front, if you're someone who's thinking about a PhD, thinking about a master's, or just thinking about grad school in general, bro, if you're an undergrad, take some time, like after you graduate, like actually take a gap year or two and just like work, dude. Do something that is outside of academia and outside of school, so you can get a better idea of like who you are, what it is that you actually like, instead of just going straight into grad school. Like, it's great if you know, and if that's like your dream and shit, like go for it. I'm not like saying that you shouldn't do it, but I'm just saying that my experiences, I was someone in undergrad that was like, I do not want to go to, like, I want to go to med school right away. Like, I want to be a doctor as soon as possible, blah, blah, blah. Like, I was in such a hurry and in a rush, where now I'm at a point where I realized that everything works out in its own time, and you have to trust it, and you have to flow with it. But you also have to give yourself that liberty to be like, okay, if this doesn't work out, something else is waiting for me that's even better, and I will get to it in due time. So with that said, yeah, like just if you're considering grad school, also consider taking a gap year or two and just doing something like a job or just figuring yourself out, take some trips if you have the funds for it, or whatever the type of life that you actually want to live, like live it before you go to grad school. With that said, let's just jump into the lessons. Number one thing that came to my mind when I was reflecting on this was, don't gloss over details in your research projects, because there were a few times where I was like, oh, this is like a minor thing, I can worry about this later. But then I went through the entire process, realized in the end that that little thing was actually really important to consider, and had to go back and redo my calculations and such for one of my summer projects from 2024. So like, if for my future self, I'm gonna remember this, that if there's details that are important, or if there are details that don't seem important but seem to affect some part of the calculations or the results or the data, and you don't gloss it over, bro. Like, take the time, take the extra day or two, put in the work for it, get the answers you need for those details, and then jump back in, because there's no reason for you to look something over, do everything, and then come back and then do the research for that detail and then do everything over again. Like, that's so much extra work. And now that I've gone through that process, like, I know what not to do. So hopefully I'm saving you some future time as well. No, yeah, that's a big learning for me, yo. I'm just thinking, like, it happened to me a few times, not just once. Life was like, you gotta learn this lesson ASAP, and I wasn't picking it up. But I had to go through that experience to realize that. And even if you have to go through that, like, accept it, embrace it, because honestly, it's bound to happen at some point, and that's the only way to really learn. But if you can keep this in the back of your mind, then you can potentially have less chances of it happening and less frequency of it. The second thing I learned is, this is something I knew. I learned in undergrad too, and at my job, but I have trouble balancing this because I just have so many interests and I want to do different things, but the learning here is, don't get into too much shit. Learn to say no to things. Like, when you first come into grad school, there should be a ton of opportunities for you to get involved in different ways, whether that be in your research projects, but also grad student association, or like different things where you can take like leadership roles, or you can like even do science communication, or there's just a plethora of things that you can do. So you have to ask yourself, is this something that I want to prioritize time for? Is this going to take away time from other things that I want to do more? Because these reflection questions are going to help you understand, okay, this right now seems more important than this, so I want to continue spending time on this project. But you have to be mindful of these things, because if you start getting into too much, and in my personal experience, this really happened because I chose to apply to 3 different fellowships while I started like 2 projects for the PhD, and I was working on my project from the summer, and I took on science communication things. So, and there's a lot more stuff. But first, I just want to say, by no means I'm not complaining or anything. Like, I love staying busy. I love this life because I like working hard. I like giving my all to things. Like, that's how I like to live. But you have to ask yourself, like, how much time are you really willing to dedicate to work versus other things? So learn to say no. Learn to say no to things that don't align with your core values and your overall goals from the semester and like throughout the PhD as well. Man, I'm thirsty. I kind of want some water. Damn, my lips are like drying up and shit. Anyways, I'm gonna keep going. There's a few more. Okay, the next one is use your resources. Chances are that you're gonna end up in grad school where you're gonna be amongst a group of an incoming class, but in any case, whichever institution you pick, I guarantee you they have some sort of resources to help you throughout the PhD program, whether that be like having a mentor that's like an upper upperclassman grad student or something, or perhaps they have like a career office or a fellowship office where you can ask for writing feedback and things like that at any given point. Or in my case also, there's this science communication thing where I'm starting to make videos with produce the social media folks as well. And I can't remember the name of the, oh, Purdue Superheroes of Science, Purdue SOS, shout out. And what I'm trying to get at is, no matter where you go, you're gonna have resources, and use them. Use those resources, explore new things, and figure out more about what you like, what you don't, and use the resources to the fullest, bro. Like the resources and networking is a key. And this is not something that I learned in grad school. This is something I learned in life in general ever since I was like 13, after I moved to the United States, because I've been working jobs since I was 13 years old. So 11 years in, like I have an idea of what it takes to incrementally get better and get to the next level. And trust me on this, using your resources is key, because if the resources are there and you're not using them, the resources are going to the waste. They're going to waste, and you're not using your grad school. You're not using the time in your grad school to the best of its ability if you're not tapping into the resources. So figure out what resources you have at your institution and tap into them and start networking with those people. The next thing, small steps every day. Now, this can be applied to life in general, but I want to make it more specific for the PhD, and what I mean by that is you're going to have several different things happening at one given time simultaneously. So you're handling like 4 or 5 different things. And what I used to do in the past was, I'd be like, oh, fuck it, like I'll write this paper in like 3 or 4 hours and be done with it. And that was undergrad, and it worked at that time because, motherfucker, I had practice, bro. I was doing fine. And I enjoyed it. Like, overall, like I enjoy the process of learning and producing something and creating things, that writing papers, scientific things, like it's genuinely, like I enjoy it. It's sometimes, yeah, it feels like, oh my god, like I've been working on this for so long, but like overall, I do enjoy it. I genuinely do. But that also means that, so I used to do that in college, where I would spend like a big chunk of time on one thing. But adult life is slightly different because you have all these moving aspects, and you simply just cannot dedicate just 4 or 5 hours to one thing in one day. Like, you can spread it out throughout the week, but it's really, really difficult to do that throughout the day. If you can, and that's what works for you, yo, go for it. But I'm about to drop a hack that has helped me so much, and that's the small steps every day. If you have a project and you just schedule like 30 minutes a day, 45 minutes a day, an hour a day, and to work on it for like 2-3 weeks, you're gonna make so much more progress versus you spending like 4 hours every few days. Just think about that. Spending 30 to 45 minutes a day for a prolonged period of time, a month, will yield you more progress than you spending like 4 or 5 hours every week in just like one sitting. It's one of the key things that really helped me finish some of the things from my summer project, because if I kept doing that thing of 4 or 5 hours, I just kept putting it off. I'll be like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. But then other new stuff is still incoming from your classes and stuff. So that's why it's really important that you take small steps and actually like time block, which goes into the next thing, is to manage your time effectively. So definitely use some form of a calendar or like tracking system of when you have classes, when you think you're going to do a certain thing. Like, just make work blocks and stuff. Like, this can be a whole separate video, but if you're in grad school or you're planning for it, chances are that you're someone who's organized and structured to a certain extent, where you know how to manage your tasks and how to prioritize the projects that you're working on. But if you're someone who hasn't gotten that much used to it yet, then definitely, calendar, time blocking, and prioritization will be some of the key skills that you want to focus on for the first semester, because that's going to lay the foundation for a great PhD. And in life, this is also like life advice in general. Which, if you're interested more on that, you can check out my other channel, Spiritual-ish, but I won't plug that in too much. The last thing I want to say with one of my learnings is, since I took on too much at certain points, I did not have enough social time or time for leisure activities for myself, which include like basic things like, cooking or home improvement, just like setting things up. This is something I want to prioritize a little bit more, because PhD is a part of your life. It's not your entire life. I'm gonna say that again. A PhD is part of your life. It's not your entire life, and you don't need to surround everything else in regards to just doing and getting through with the PhD. Like, that's not the goal. The goal here is to learn. The goal here is to grow. The goal here is to develop yourself in a holistic way. And the only way to do that is by balancing school stuff with social time and leisure activities. We're 16 minutes in. What? That's crazy. If you made it this far into the video, I just want to say thanks so much for tuning in. Hopefully you got something out of the video. And let me just say this one last thing, because this is going to tie every single thing I said together. This goes for college experiences as well. It all depends on how you're going to go about it. It may matter which school you end up at, which program you're in, etc., but at the end of the day, bro, it falls on you to tap into the resources that you have available to become the best version of yourself that you can be, wherever the fuck you are. Like, you have to make the best of what you have, and you can't do that if you're overly fixated on things like, oh, I'm not at the best school, this is not the best location, blah, blah, blah. Like, you can't. These are thoughts that you have to just observe and then let go. But these are not thoughts that you have to get fixated on, because that's going to take energy away from the stuff that actually matters. So it really falls on you of what you make out of the experience that you're in. And I'm going to wrap that up here. If you made it this far into the video, I appreciate you tuning in. And thanks so much for watching. I really hope you got something out of the video. And for future me, I hope you're doing good, man. I'm excited to see you put these learnings in practice. And if you're in grad school and you have a learning that is something that changed your trajectory overall, let me know in the comments below. But I'll wrap it up. I'll catch you all in the next one.